We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Ollie Gordon, Miami Dolphins rookie running back. This was an absolutely huge preseason game for him. Preseason week 3 hit a really strong preseason overall, but I think this game was like the most important for him out of all the guys that were like guaranteed to make the roster. Like this game was the most important for him out of those guys. Lots of good mental decisions. I think that's probably been the most exciting part for Gordon for me. We know he's got the physical traits. He's got good size. He runs hard, breaks some tackles. Athletically, not the most impressive. He's not going to blow you away with speed or acceleration, but a good enough athlete for his size. But it's the mental traits. I think he's seeing things pretty well. He's being very decisive, especially like on some outside zone runs. I thought he was very consistent. So even though he didn't break any like big runs throughout this game, I thought this was a very good game from like this type of play that translate to regular season. I think on a more consistent basis. Some of his bigger runs maybe wouldn't have translated as well because of some of the talent he's going against. But I think he made a lot of consistent decisions, and that bodes well. Another reason this was so big is the Dolphins just decided not to trade for Brian Robinson Jr. They were like one of the front runners. They end up not trading for B Rob, which was big. They have injuries. Jalen Wright just got injured, and the fact that they got to see Ollie Gordon with the ones, because I do think if Jalen Wright was healthy, he would still get the first crack at RB2. But the fact that he might miss week 1, that's going to give Ollie Gordon a real shot at RB2 in real snaps. And if he can take advantage for that and never even have to really fight right for it if he goes out there and plays quality football. And this also gave them probably pretty good comfortability that they got to see him run with the ones and what he looks like playing around those guys. Now, it might end up being different in the regular season. They weren't doing exactly the things they do offensively. They were mixing stuff up, not running as much motion. But overall, felt really what I saw from Gordon. So, leave a like, comment for the YouTube algorithm, all that good stuff. Join as a member if you want early access. Let's break some of this down. Because I think from a processing standpoint, Gordon is doing a very good job. Let's watch this play. Some split zone here, outside zone run. And he's just reading a line of scrimmage down. So I think you watch his eyes right to here. He reads outside leverage, boom. Okay, then he goes to the next guy. You're just working down this line of scrimmage. 94, they're working this combo. He's seeing this. He's basically got that outside leverage right there. Then comes to this. He's already preparing to make his cut right there, stick that foot in the ground before he even really gets his eyes to 99. But now it's on it. Boom. Hit that cutback lane. Find it. He knows just based on this flow of this play, this tight end here, Rucci's going to try to take out the backside defender. And he's able to get upfield, explode through. Just very, very nice job. Dolphins run a lot of outside zone. He's not going to be the typical outside zone back that we see in the system where it's like, okay, it's Achan. He's going to try to make this like huge play with his crazy speed, acceleration, and speed. More from Gordon just making very good, quick decisions. And these are things that translate into regular season performance. I think this is something you saw in his college film. Things are getting blocked up pretty nicely here, and he's making a solid play. And that stuff has kind of been all over the preseason film so far, and I think this week 3 performance was probably my favorite. And he's gonna have a real shot to take RB2 because of that injury and take it very quickly. Because I think if the injury didn't happen, he still could have taken the RB2 spot, but it would have taken him longer to end up going. It would have been like more of a later mid to late season thing. But now he has a chance to take it right away, and that's performing. He might not look back at it. More outside zone success. Not this time, not hitting the cutback. This time hitting the bang, kind of working off Patrick Paul here. I like the press of these things. So like all these like little angles and because a lot of guys might instantly run to space here, but like because a lot of guys like right here, they're more of would be angled to the inside and just instantly hit through this hole. But these things end up closing up pretty fast in people. So by him being angled to the outside here, he kind of commits this guy long enough for Patrick Paul to get a better block. He commits 37 far to the outside, which gives his receiver a better angle to get a block here. And now once he's pressed up and they've got engaged long enough, he then sticks that on the ground and hits it harder to get upfield. Also to stay as far away from this guy who could potentially work across face there. Gets the tackle a little bit late in the play, but he's banging through there. Like what I see. I think he has really good spatial awareness, which is an underrated trait for running backs, and I think something that can go unnoticed if you're not paying attention to the little details. Like when you're watching live, it's obviously, you can like kind of guess like, oh, they have a good feel for the game. But when you're watching the film, it's like if you really dig into it, it's like, oh yeah, Gordon clearly has a good feel for like space and stuff like that. Also, good block from Jonah here. I think working, throwing that drag hand back, helping out Brewer on the center, and then getting up to the linebacker. Thought he'd had some pretty good plays. I haven't specifically sat down and watched Jonah yet, but I noticed some decent plays from the Ollie film. Hopefully, we can see improvement for him, but uh, good play there. Some gap scheme stuff. I think Ollie feels comfortable working in gap scheme stuff. I think the Dolphins should be running more of that, especially with Ollie and Jalen Wright. I think that's something they both prefer. But here, what's going on? They're motioning the tight end across, pulling the right guard here. So basically two lead blockers. So Gordon has to work off the back of 78 here and 80, and he presses up into the line. Everyone else is kind of down blocking on this side of the ball, press up into it and bounce. So like he just reads this, everything kind of gets super tight and constricted. He presses up into his block and he opens up his hips, bounce to the outside, have enough juice to get out to the outside, and then drop your shoulder into a DB. Doesn't really, amount to too much in terms of like extra yardage. You can see the physicality, willing to play with better pad level. I think that's something that I like seeing out of him too. Is he is a little bit of an upright runner, but when he does go to engage with the defenders, he does drop the pad level, which has helped him out in a lot of occasions. Bigger back that can deliver a punishment definitely can, I think, blend in well, complement the backfield because you got Achan, who's the smaller back, very good athleticism, very explosive, very good receiver. Then you have Jalen Wright, who's kind of in the middle of Gordon because Gordon is a bigger back, very physical, not the most explosive, but I mean, good hands as well. And then Jalen Wright's kind of in the middle of them, he's kind of a mix of like, and he's in the middle size wise, in the middle explosiveness wise, but yeah, kind of a nice little complementary of skill sets there out of the RB room. Here, more inside zone stuff. Kind of reading off the leverage of this block. He identifies because he's kind of working up on the A gap here. Sees this guy cross face, boom, already working down. Now working off leverage of the block from Borum, makes a quick decision. So like even though this play, like I do understand why, because like it might look like if he hits up through here, he might have a bigger play. Like this hole looks like it would be open. But if he does commit there, this guy is in that leverage. Like it might look like it opened up because he commits back this way, but this guy starts to shed that way. So I do think he makes the right read. And if Malik gets this block on the safety, he just misses it. He actually would have had a pretty big crease to work with and probably would have gone full speed into that corner right there. But he does end up picking up the first down here, making pretty decisive, falling forward because that was a second and short situation. I think he makes the right read there. Doesn't end up getting super maximized because, slightly missed block. Also, really good job. Watch Brewer on this play. Brewer was dominating people out there. He had a couple pancakes on the day. Good job here from Gordon, not wasting any time. Like, because they shoot upfield, so they're outside zone. And look at 92 and 48. So the play, they kind of like knife to the inside here. And look, Jonah and Paul kind of have to readjust because they're not expecting this exactly. But they do a pretty good job readjusting and know, like, hey, our aiming point on this run is out here. So they're kind of taking themselves out of the play as long as I don't let them get back there unblocked. So Jonah gets a hand on enough to at least, pin him to the inside. Paul gets enough of a block on 48. Ollie kind of recognizes that instant penetration but sees the space here. So he doesn't waste any time. He doesn't do anything fancy. He just gets downhill. Boom. Run hard. Finish. Pick up a few yard gain. Picking up about 4 to 5, I believe, on the play. Pretty solid there. That's actually not a horrible look for what they want to do offensively. I think on this play maybe is one that he would maybe want back a little bit. They do set the edge pretty well, but there's really not much that he can do here. I think he makes the correct choice. Like, just based on the leverage, 94 is kind of backside here. He should hit up in between this, but it's not going to end up too much. He just kind of run a little bit too tight to the edge. But there was not a lot of room, but I do like that even though it's not blocked up perfectly, not much else he could have done decision-making wise, he falls forward. He drives those legs. He picks up an extra 3, almost 4 yards on that play than he probably should have. That stuff can go a long way in games and is a lot more important than I think gets credit. Because one, that type of stuff can pick up first downs. It can make situations a lot more manageable. It opens up the playbook. Like instead of having, like, say if that's a first down run, instead of it being 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9, ends up being a 2nd and 6 situation, which allows you to do a lot more things. Still run the ball, still open up the whole playbook. Quick passing game, you can take some shots too, because 3rd and 6 is still even pretty manageable. Good stuff there. Here's another play where I think this is like the one play that I think Gordon would probably want back from a decision making standpoint. So outside zone, uh, that they're doing split zone stuff where they motion across in the jet sweep, tight end splits across. So he's reading aim analytics scrimmage down. He understands like, hey, this edge is set, but based on what he kind of tries to hit up into this when he shouldn't. I don't think should read 97's leverage. I do understand like he is kind of back into this. Sees 98 flash. In my opinion, he needs to either like cut up here now, just based on this, or he should have made the decision a quick minute ago to really stick his foot in the ground and then cut back to this side. That would be a tough ask just based on where he's positioned. But either way, I don't think the correct decision was to run into here because this guy could peel off to the inside. That is kind of where that D tackle was going anyways. So that was kind of the one decision I think he would want back. Not too big of a deal. Uh, he does at least fall forward and fight through contact pretty well there. You know, he's got those good physical traits, good size. That is kind of the one decision I think he would want back. And then pass pro, he had 3 pass pro reps. This is the first one I think, you know, kind of whiffs on 37, the DB. I think, and then the guy gets the pressure on Tua, he kind of has to just chuck it up and away. So that is kind of one I think he would probably want back in that situation. But then I think the other 2 were definitely more effective. I think, to me, if he did have to pass pro, I think all the Dolphins backs in pass pro are not great. I think Jalen Wright and Gordon have more potential there with pass pro than Achane for sure. But they'll be inconsistent. But he at least bounced back with some 2 pretty good reps here. Dolphins go BOB here, which is big on bigs and back on back. As you can see, Ollie's got to find 50 or the blitzing, I think 48 there. And he kind of starts out his eyes on 50. He sees that he hesitates. His eyes flash to 48, sees him coming, goes and finds him in the hole. Boom, meets him there. Able to slow him down enough on a 4th down. This is a 4th down situation. This is the one where Tua completes it over the middle to Malik. Good job from Ollie. If he doesn't identify the blitz and get in there and at least throw his body in the way, not great technique, but gets his body in the way, able to identify what's going on here. He's kind of looking back and forth. Boom, gets his thrown away, and then Malik makes a clutch catch. Here's another one. The Jaguars were blitzing a lot, by the way. Usually in preseason, teams are running very basic stuff. The Jags were just setting blitz after blitz, which, you know, could definitely give offenses problem when you're kind of running the more basic stuff. But pretty good job here. He finds the Dolphins kind of slide stuff left, get stuff tight here. Gordon's got to go find the DB. 54. This is actually a very interesting blitz because you can see 54 kind of pulls out of this, but he like delayed blitz on it. So Gordon, I mean, either way, guys coming in unblocked. I don't blame Gordon for going for the defensive back. He's not going to really see 54 in this situation, but still does a good job going out and meeting him, giving him space. If 54 isn't coming on block, Gordon gives Zach a bunch of space to work with there. But yeah, overall, like what I saw, didn't get to do any real receiving work this game. We know from Gordon he's not going to really be like a route runner or anything like that, but he's got reliable hands if they want to throw him the ball as like a check down option. He's made some plays there. I think the most impressive thing has been the in between the ears trait. I think he's got good processing, spatial awareness, good feel for the game as of right now, which is huge for a 6th-round rookie. I think his body can hold up to, you know, the punishment of the NFL level, which is another big thing. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. He'll be one of the rookies that gets an early crack at playing time because of some of those injuries. Probably would have already got a pretty early crack anyways, but it's going to be even a little more accelerated. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. I'm excited to see him in action very early on, probably in that Colts game week 1. We'll see at least some work from him. So if you guys do that, comment and subscribe to the